Son Doong, the largest cave on our planet. This cave is so massive that it has a completely self-sustaining ecosystem with its own climate conditions. Hundreds of meters underground, clouds, just like the ones you see in the sky, form inside this cave. Son Doong even has an untouched prehistoric rainforest hidden far below the surface, along with a vast underground river. From transparent fish to colorful monkeys, more than 250 endemic plant and animal species live in this underground world. Recently, 7 new species unique to this cave were discovered. Stretching 9 kilometers in length, Son Doong holds 38.5 million cubic meters of space. Its passages are so enormous that a 40-story skyscraper could fit inside, and its giant stalagmites rise like towers of an ancient city. Walking through, it's impossible not to feel as small as a tiny insect. Gary, can a rock move on its own? Surprisingly, Son Doong contains phytokarst rocks that shift toward the sun, behaving almost like semi-living organisms. Rare cave pearls and many other unique formations are also found here. For 3 million years since its formation, the world had no idea about this cave's existence until it was fully explored in 2009 in Vietnam. Today, access is restricted to protect both visitors and the fragile environment. Expeditions are operated solely by Oxalis, the only authorized agency. To reach Son Doong, we trekked through the jungle for 9 hours. Our journey then led us through N Cave, the world's 3rd largest cave, which serves as a gateway to the biggest cave on Earth. Preparation was crucial, so before setting out, we did extensive research about Son Doong and its surroundings. Inside, we reached a beach carved over centuries by river water. The ceiling here rises 145 meters, while the cave spans 200 meters in width. During the flooding season, much of this vast space is submerged. Water levels rise so high that baskets and other objects can be carried upwards. Facing a breathtaking underground lake, it was impossible not to take a quick dip. At dusk, the sound of swift birds echoed through the cave. With short, weak legs, these birds cannot take off from the ground. They must leap from high places to fly. If trapped on the floor, death is inevitable. One unfortunate bird awaited its end. By sunrise, we were ready to continue our journey. If N Cave is a neighborhood, then Son Doong is an entire city in comparison. As we entered the darkness, dozens of crickets hopped across our path. The ground was covered in centuries of bat guano. Above us, countless bats hung asleep, while a few awake ones defecated, reminding us not to look up. We passed limestone formations resembling travertine steps that led deeper inside. Water dripped from both sides, adding to the surreal view. That night, N Cave sheltered us in the jungle. The following morning, we finally approached Son Doong. Beneath our feet lay limestone dating back 450 million years, formed long before humans or even dinosaurs existed. This calcium-rich rock came from shells and skeletons of ancient sea creatures that settled on the ocean floor and compressed over time. Since calcium dissolves easily in acid, acid rain gradually eroded the limestone, creating caves. Thus, the world's largest cave was formed. A final challenging climb brought us to Son Doong's grand entrance. As we descended, everyone switched on their headlamps. Our path led us toward the Hope and Vision Passage. In this 9-kilometer-long cave, discoveries await, perhaps even new species yet to be recorded. The entrance itself is breathtaking. Tiny people in the distance look like specks against the colossal cave mouth. Even just a few steps in, we were surrounded by astonishing formations. Mineral-rich water dripping from ceilings and walls had formed rimstone pools over millennia. The first creature to greet us was a cricket. As we made our way across rocks, some stalagmites sparkled pure white, resembling diamonds. Massive stalactites hung in bronze shades, resembling frozen waterfalls. Their orange-brown hues revealed traces of iron and other minerals. Some stalactites had broken from the ceiling and fallen to the ground. Fault lines revealed where tectonic movements shaped the cave, opening pathways for water to carve deeper. A huge river rushed through one section, so fast that falling in meant no chance of swimming to safety. Floods brought soil and seeds deep inside where sprouts had begun to grow, though without sunlight they wouldn't survive. Spores carried in by the water allowed mushrooms to thrive in the moist darkness. Just yesterday, floodwaters rose so high they left fresh traces of mud on the walls. Finally, we reached the Hope and Vision Passage, the largest section of Son Doong. Here stood the world's tallest stalagmite, an astonishing 80 meters high. It took around 800,000 years to form as minerals slowly built up from dripping water. Its size was possible because the ceiling above. This chamber, wow, it rises over 170 meters and spans more than 130 meters across. It's honestly so immense that a skyscraper could fit inside, and even a double-decker aircraft could fly through. Far ahead we spotted faint daylight filtering in. The ground glittered with cloudy white patches. On closer look, they were spider webs. Sensitive to even the slightest vibration, the spiders leapt when prey was caught. Out, it bites the prey and returns to the funnel to eat. These are sand towers. When water drips from above, the parts beneath the pebbles are protected while their surroundings erode. In the end, it forms these towers. They look like a small metropolis. If you look carefully, there's a man standing on top of that rock. Our teammate in the far distance is now standing on a slide about 60 meters in length. We move 3 kilometers forward into the cave. This is our camping site. Imagine sleeping here, gazing at this view. From here, you can partially see the first dolene. At first glance, it might look like the cave's exit, but it's actually the first of 2 massive dolenes. And from here on, things will only get more incredible. The temperature difference between the outside and inside of the cave creates mist and clouds within. The area beyond this is called Watch Out for Dinosaurs. We'll explore that place tomorrow. For now, it's time to rest. The next day, we head to the first doline. There will be many things to see today. Let's go. We crawl through narrow passages to reach the first doline, squeezing through very tight points. Along the way, we notice sticky threads, traps belonging to cave worms. These worms produce a blue-green light from their tails to attract flying insects. Once an insect gets stuck, the larva pulls the thread up with its mouth and consumes the prey. This limestone is the oldest in Southeast Asia, more than 400 million years old. While some sea creatures became part of the limestone, others mineralized and ended up as fossils like the one you see in this example. We'll get into the details of this fossil later. We're almost there, son. Water droplets take around 20 seconds to fall from the top to the ground. What's the height of this wall? It's about 140 meters. Everything here is massive. When you look up, you can see the trees of the rainforest surrounding the opening, but right now we are still deep inside the cave. This hole exists because hundreds of thousands of years ago, the river flowing through Son Doong eroded the limestone and weakened the roof. Eventually, the roof collapsed, creating this giant opening above. The sunlight gave life to algae and mosses. In the afternoon, we'll head to Dolina number 2. It's very different. There, you'll see a real jungle. But first, let's look at one of the last 2 incredible formations here. This is also a stalagmite, but a unique one. Its layered shape was formed by waterfalls. These are phytokarst formations, rare limestone structures shaped by the growth of algae. Mosses and microorganisms together with calcium carbonate shape these formations. Since both biological and geological processes contribute to them, they are partly living and partly non-living. Here you can see the phytokarst formations reaching toward the sun like a hand extending from the cave. After climbing 1 kilometer down and back up in the dark, we finally reached our next destination, the second dolmen, which is much larger than the first. All of a sudden, it feels as though we are in a forest inside a cave. Look around, the vegetation is so dense. The roof of the cave at this point collapsed due to the intersection of 2 main faults, creating a doline on the surface 252 meters above where we stand. This collapse allowed sunlight to filter in, giving rise to an entirely new ecosystem. Despite the extreme conditions, plants and animals have managed to adapt, turning this place into a unique underground rainforest. As we move closer to the light, the plants grow taller. The soil here provides the perfect foundation for a rainforest. A large portion of it consists of bat guano, which has accumulated for millions of years and is highly fertile. The soil is deep and filled with small holes. In each hole lives an insect, and these insects build traps inside the soil to capture prey. This underground jungle is massive. Biologists have identified more than 200 species of plants and nearly 60 species of animals living here. High up in the trees, monkeys move about. This may be the only cave in the world where monkeys live. Normally, primates prefer trees in open environments, and caves are not suitable habitats for them. Yet, this extraordinary place has become a new home for certain species. We came across a centipede, and snakes also inhabit this forest. The sounds of the forest are calming. Even the explorers who first arrived here in 2009 thought for a moment that they had found the exit. But remember, we are still inside a cave. This cave has its own rainforest. The trees here grow thinner but taller as they reach upward for sunlight streaming from the opening above. That's why they are slender but unusually high compared to their width. Some trees reach heights of 40 to 50 meters because they prioritize vertical growth to maximize light absorption. Here we find the remains of a snail. The monkeys catch these snails, break their shells with stones, and eat them. As we move deeper into the cave, we begin to notice signs left behind by red-shanked dukes. Look, so many snail shells. Most are broken, probably eaten by monkeys. The scenery is so enchanting that we almost forget we are still in a cave. Massive. This is where we are going to camp tonight. It's our fourth and final day in the cave. Today, we navigate through a water-filled passage before reaching the Great Wall of Vietnam. The stalagmites here look fascinating, almost like the work of a sculptor. A pool of water surrounds one column and fish are swimming inside. These fish have no eyes as they have adapted to live in total darkness. Instead, their other senses have grown stronger over time. Notice how they don't react to the shadow of my hand or any movement. They can't see anything. Like the fish, this cricket is also completely blind. It doesn't see me. Nearby, we find super rare formations called cave pearls. Normally, they are about 1 centimeter in diameter, but here, since they are so old, some have grown as large as a tennis ball. Just like real pearls, they form around a tiny nucleus, such as a grain of sand, with layers of minerals slowly building up over time. They require several hundred years to be fully formed. As we push deeper into the cave, something unexpected catches our eyes. Deer bones. They are estimated to be around 500 years old. But one last challenge still awaits us. An 80-meter-high karst wall known as the Great Wall of Vietnam. To reach it, we must first pass through the 600-meter-long Passchendaele Passage. Now filled with water, the passage has turned into a breathtaking jade green lake. The ceiling is so high that light doesn't reach the very top. After the wall, the exit light becomes visible from 500 meters away. At last, we have explored the world's largest cave from one end to the other. Yet, on this fourth day of exploration, one mystery still remains. Which ancient creature does the fossil we saw in Son Doong belong to? So I open Opera browser and quickly navigate to the cave's website to check the related article. Here we find the same fossil's image and its description. I press Command + / or Control + / to open Aria, which is Opera's built-in AI tool, and then I ask it to highlight the key points in the article. The article mentions 2 different coral fossils, but it doesn't specify which image belongs to which creature. First, I use Opera's Tab Islands feature to group related tabs and save space. I can expand or collapse them as needed. Splitting the browser window allows me to view both websites side by side. It appears that Tetracoralia or rugosa went extinct 300 million years ago. This carnivorous species is believed to have had tentacles for catching prey and grew up to 10 centimeters. Since it is extinct, we don't know exactly what it looked like. But with Aria's image generation feature, we can create a possible visual. Here's an illustration of a living Tetracoralia, drawn as a colony with tentacles. By the way, Opera's Tab Traces feature helps track recently visited tabs by darkening the underline. The darker it is, the more recent the visit. Using Opera's smart tools, I believe we've identified which creature this fossil belongs to. Opera also enhances workflow with a floating music player, customizable themes, and many other features. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.